Hello and welcome back to the Otakuology podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is my furry friend, Jin Graves,
Meow,
aka the Bard of the Tavern.
Woof,
And we got a good episode for you guys today. Good episode because we're continuing the BNA brand new anime journey as we continue on watching this show. We are on episodes 5 and 6, correct?
Yes.
I had a brain fart. I'm like, I think it's 5 and 6. I can't remember exactly what episode we're on.
Yeah. Happens sometimes. Sometimes you forget.
Which is weird because I just watched these, like rewatched these for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck. I
don't know. I usually branch all this stuff as a whole, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
We did have some pretty good episodes this time though. The first one I felt like was pretty comical.
Oh, it was very comical. Even though I feel like it does branch off into like slightly into the overarching story a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a standalone episode in a sense.
I agree. I feel like this is one of the things that Trigger is pretty good at though, because they kind of throw you a curveball episode where you
it
get
was
like
a big curveball.
You get the right. You get these curveball episodes though, where like they're kind of like taking their foot off the accelerator and not touching the brake. Where you're still like you're getting part of the story and stuff still, but they put it in such a way where you're kind of getting a breath of fresh air. Like we're not strict.
Yeah, they're not strictly like going A, B, C.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that also happened a lot more on this episode because I mean we didn't hardly I feel like see our straight man at all, so
oh yeah, no, he was
there, he just wasn't always there.
He was there, but he was MIA for a lot of it. This is I forgot what her name was. Michiru's episode for sure.
I totally thought you were about to say this is a Me Too movement, and I was like,
this is Me Too, you know.
Me too. I want to be a beast man.
I almost want to call her Michiru for some reason. I don't know why I want to say Michiru. Macaroni. Hey, you know what I had the other day?
What?
I had deep fried macaroni the other day.
I don't know how I'd feel about this.
You know, I was a little hesitant, but it looked like a giant, like cheese log, almost cheese stick, almost. But it was big and like
a mac and cheese bite.
Kind of, but it was it was long, like a cheese stick, like a deep fried mozzarella cheese stick.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, and I ate it.
Yeah,
and it was really good, actually.
So I got a question.
What?
It went in as a log. Did it come out as a log?
I don't. Yes, maybe. I don't know if I passed it yet or not. But
oh my god, from a couple of days ago.
I mean, it was Friday. So
I'm gonna have to get you checked.
I don't remember if I pooped over the weekend.
Oh my god. Yeah, usually that's like a once a day thing, buddy.
I mean, usually, yeah, but I don't remember. I don't know if I took a shit or not.
So we'll have to do this. I feel like it would be fun for you and Otaku Tiff to do. I was watching this thing and it kept throwing me off because I kept hearing this lady go, "Oh yeah, I'm doing like a colon cleanse, but before you do that, you have to know XYZ." And I was like, I don't want to know about a colon cleanse, but I want to know her title thing or whatever was like a blue brownie or something or a muffin. Yeah. And I was like, okay, but I want to know how this is tied into what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Well, supposedly to figure out like what her cycle was for how long the colon cleanse was going to take, she blue food dyed a thing, and it's a blue food dye test to see how long it takes you to pass it through.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh my God, this is something we should try. Like,
it's kind of like when you eat popcorn and you find the kernels in your turds.
Yeah, I guess.
So you're like, oh, I ate popcorn today.
Maybe. Or Austin Powers, I don't remember eating corn.
That was a terrible accent.
Whatever, fuck you.
Terrible impression. But let's get off the digestive train and talk about
toot.
BNA, brand new animal.
BNA.
I have to say, this first episode, like you said, it was a lot of fun. And we start out with Michiru and the gang, Miss Melissa, the rooster guy, Shiro. They're all hanging out.
What's the rooster guy's name?
I forget what his name is. I think his name's like is it
yeah,
Jeff?
I fucking called you out on that.
I don't remember what his name is.
Yeah, I fucking called you out on that, buddy.
What's his name? I don't remember what his name is.
I don't know. That's why I called you out first, because I didn't want you to call me out later.
Well, he's not like a huge main character, right? Like,
I just know him as the rooster. So.
Here comes the rooster.
I think that's one of the things I love about this anime, because if I can't remember somebody's name, I can tell you what animal they are.
Yeah, but the rooster doctor guy.
Just like what's the other one? Oh, like the mink, the weasel lady, and it's like, oh yeah,
Mira.
I can definitely tell you.
It's Mira, I believe, is her name.
I thought her name was Mirai.
Mira, same fucking thing. She's not a mink. She's a mink, not a weasel. So you know,
I know.
You know, but yeah, we get them all hanging out in the on like the, I don't say it was a courtyard, but like on the roof, like hanging out and whatnot. And Shiro asks Michiru like, "Hey, why are you still in beast form and whatnot?" She's like, "Hey, it's just more comfortable this way." And she starts playing basketball. We found out from the last episode she loves basketball, apparently. She was a basketball star. You know, she played basketball a lot. And she was like shooting hoops, slamming, dunking some jams, you know, playing with the sports balls, you know. And she's like, "Hey, is there a basketball club around here?" She asked. And they're like, what's basketball? Which is weird because they have a basketball hoop at their place of business / where they live.
I mean, unless she got them to get it for her, I don't know.
But it's been there this whole time.
Has it?
Yes. So I don't understand why they don't know about basketball, or at least one of them doesn't know about basketball.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Melissa, who I don't know if we know like what animal she is yet, she takes Michiru to a game. And
I think we know what animal she is.
Well, what is she?
I think she's a sheep.
Is she a sheep? I don't remember exactly what exactly she is. But she takes her to this game. She's like, "This isn't basketball. This is baseball." And you're like, "Yeah, everybody loves baseball in Anima City." And I love earlier we find out that Michiru is listening to the news. It's a small joke that you get if you listen to the background noise. And she hears like these two different teams played each other, and one of the dodo players died, and then the dodos went extinct.
Oh yeah. That didn't happen at this game. That happened.
Prior, yeah. But that subtle joke made me laugh so hard.
I thought it was hilarious where they bring it up later on to the mayor.
Yeah. Like
and
the dodos
are playing that game that the last dodo beastman just died. And I'm like, that is a great joke to put in this. I don't know why, but it is.
It's funny. It's funny, you know? But we get there and we see that this group of bears, I don't remember. I think, what were they called? They had a team name. Were they just the Bears?
No, they were called like the Sad Bears or something like that. Like,
I don't remember. We just call them the Bears. I don't remember what exactly.
yeah, no, whatever adjective they put in front of it, it was like bad. Referred to them being like poor or crying
I
or
kept wanting to call them like the
shit like
Bad
that.
News Bears for some reason.
Uh,
Because they seem like the Bad News Bears.
they were always bad news bears.
But they're playing this team, the Flamingos, and the Bears are like they have not won a game this whole season or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
they're the worst. They're the worst game.
they're the worst team, and they keep playing this game, and Michiru finds out that in this game of baseball you can kill people.
You could cheat.
You can cheat and kill beastmen or beast people. And that's exactly kind of what happens is one of the flamingos takes these daggers and throws them at one of the bears.
Yeah.
We think it kills it, but I don't think it does. It just hurts them really bad. And they get taken out.
Yeah, I think it just makes him MIA.
Yeah, it just makes it MIA for a while, I believe. But I love the little detail that all the different players are different types of bears. It's really funny. It's really funny.
Yes.
And the panda bear, his head looks like a pork bun. Did you notice that?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like a blink and you miss it type of thing. But
Yeah. The one that really stands out to me is the last team that they played, where it was like the crazy looking hyena guy and stuff.
yeah, I forget what they were called. Do you remember what they were called?
No.
I don't remember what they're called.
Because most of them, it was based off of like the residing animal of the
yeah,
team.
like what they were. But the last team
and
was
that
like
last team was like
misfit
everything.
animals.
Yeah, it was like everything.
Yeah, but you know this happens. This event happens, and Michiru spots it, and she's like, "Hey, those guys are cheating out there. What's going on?" And they're like, forget it. You know, you don't know what's going on. Blah blah blah. You don't know baseball. This and that. And
There's no killing in baseball.
yeah, there's no killing in baseball. But the young catcher, his name is Jackie, and we don't know it. We don't learn his name until like the next episode.
Yeah,
like they never say his name, and he's like, "Hey, you know, they need another player." They try to get their coach to help him out. He's a drunkard. He's drunk. You know, he doesn't want to help and play, like help them out and whatnot. Really,
yeah,
he's very much washed up in this scenario.
Yeah, he is.
And so we see Michiru throw the ball back, and her arm gets really big again, and she like does like they call it a magic throw is what they call it, but it's like a very fast ball.
Yeah.
And Jackie's like, "Hey, we want you to help us." She plays in this game, and they actually, if I remember correctly, they win the game. And the coach isn't too happy about this, because he was like kind of fixing the games.
Yeah, they get paid to lose.
They get paid to lose, which I don't know if the Bears knew that beforehand, or if that was just like a deal between the gang members.
I don't think so.
And the coach.
I don't think they knew that until the last game.
Because a lot of people call the Bears stupid. Like they're like dumb. Which I mean, in some instances, they are dumb in this anime.
Right.
But I mean, I feel like they're just like down on their luck, and they might not know a lot about the world. They're a little.
That could be true too.
They're a little gullible, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and then they get ready for the next ball game.
They find out. They go back to their like, I guess like they're like one of the houses. I don't remember whose house it is. I think it might be Jackie's house. And they live in the slums.
Yeah.
And they basically they don't blackmail Michiru, but they basically guilt trip Michiru into becoming their pitcher. Because she doesn't want to do it, even though she had fun doing it. Yeah. She really doesn't want to be a pitcher, but she does it anyways. And they end up playing against the Water Buffaloes, I think is what they were playing against at first.
Um, I think it was just a mixture of like bull animals,
Oh,
like water buffaloes and bulls and
I thought they were
um,
water buffaloes. But they play
things like
against
that.
these guys, and we find out that Michiru starts transforming into other animals. She transforms into a cheetah, or partial cheetah, I guess you could say. And that's really interesting.
She goes
To
cheetah
She
legs.
gets cheetah legs and runs really, really fast and whatnot. And we see this, and she's not supposed to like be using her powers at all in public because Shiro's afraid that people are going to find her and like maybe experiment on her, judge her, harm her in some way, like stuff like that. It's interesting that she's using her powers so blatantly in public
Right?
for
Because
the go
because
ahead.
doesn't Shiro like give her a nickname at one point, and he calls her uh Gorilla Pawed Tanuki or something?
I think so.
And it's because whenever she pitches, she changes her arm into like the big gorilla arm.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Well,
But while all this is going on, Shiro is tasked with finding out exactly what's going on with like the betting in baseball.
the
You know,
illegal gambling
who's
ring.
behind it, what's going on. Come to find out that the mafia has an in with the Bears coach. And he has been getting paid to rig the games. He lost and he has to basically get them to basically lose the games because they're going off to like the championships, I believe, or semifinals or something like that. If I remember correctly.
I think so. I think they're just supposed to be the team that loses all the time.
Yeah, they are, but they're going to like the championships.
Yeah,
At the end, they're going to the championships. And
yeah, it's all rigged.
Shiro finds this out eventually, and he also finds out that the coach of the Bears is a disgraced um, ball player, and he is the first Beast Man to actually play in like the Human League.
Yeah,
And this part is really, really sad. Like I felt for him
yeah,
until the very end. Until the very end, I felt for him, and I was like, "Oh man, this sucks," because he gets mistreated. He can't like sit on the bleachers. He can't go into the hotels. He has to go pee outside because beastmen, animals pee outside. Use the bathroom outside. He can't do anything with his team, and he
yeah,
basically snaps and just murders his entire baseball team. I believe it looks like he murders them, and that's where we kind of I find this out that there's different things going on. There's different things afoot.
yeah,
He's lost his fascination, his love with baseball, his love with the game. So that's why he's been fixing stuff. This is the only way a beast man can get out of the slums and whatnot is to play baseball and stuff. And Shiro ends up getting the money. No, sorry. They find out that the money gets stolen. Like the mob
right.
does. They find out the money gets stolen in the game. They have to figure out what exactly they're going to do because everybody in the stadium finds out that there's no money and they start to kind of riot almost. Which is fun. It's
Yeah,
just that part when they all like perk their ears up is like it's really funny to see.
yeah. Well, my favorite line in that was where they're like, "There's no betting in baseball.
Yeah,
This is boring," and
this is boring.
you're like, "Does everybody bet? Does everybody bet on baseball? Like, is that a thing?" So I don't know. I mean, it kind of like when this was done, this episode and everything, I really wonder if that's like a big thing everywhere, that the crew that worked on this really like has seen or knows like that people do.
Well, I mean, betting on sports is a thing, and baseball is pretty big in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, there was like even like Pete Rose, the famous baseball player. He
Yeah.
got banned for life because he would bet and I believe fix his own games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like it's a thing that happens. It's a very very real thing that happens.
Yeah. What I'm talking about, I feel like since everybody in the stadium that was that way, you know, they really made it seem like that was a big thing that everybody did.
Well, I mean,
And instead
in this
of,
world, yeah,
yeah,
I would say yes.
yeah.
In the BNA world, I would be like yes.
And then I'm
And
kind of like, what else do they have to gamble on? Because I mean, they have like a poker place or something else like that. You know, like
oh
it kind of gave us more of an insight that we just don't know. Like, if this is one of the biggest places where people can go to bet money and everything to try and win something back,
yeah,
like, what are the other revenues that are like that here? And is there other revenues?
I have to say I feel like it's only baseball because that's all they bet on was baseball.
Well, we do know from the beginning that baseball is the only sport
Yeah,
that's here.
yeah, and
So, I mean, I could see that, and we haven't ever went past anywhere where it's been like a pachinko parlor or anything either. So,
yeah. But we come to the last game, the finals, and Michiru finds out that basically something's going on with the bears. And she's like, "What's going on? Tell me what's going on." And then the polar bear is like, "Hey, we're basically fixing the game because you're going to pay us money." And that's what we
yeah,
find out. We find out that they fixed the game and they're going to get all this money. And Michiru is basically like, "No, we're not going to do this. We're not going to lose. We're going to play the game fair. We're not going to kill people. We're going to play fucking baseball. That's
yeah.
what we're going
Well,
to
and
do."
she's been telling people that from the beginning too.
Yeah, yeah,
If I'm
yeah,
on the team, we're not killing nobody. We're not doing any of this extra stuff. Okay.
yeah. We're just playing good old fashioned American baseball,
Beastman baseball.
Beastman baseball.
Yeah.
And we find out that Shiro ends up getting the money that the coach has. He takes it back, gives it back to the mafia, and he's like, "I even placed my own bet," which I wonder what bet he placed,
Yeah.
which they don't say if he bet on the bears or he bet on the killer animal people, which is interesting.
I
It's
want to say he probably bet on the winning team and he knew that they would win, because I think his intention to do that was he knew everybody else would bet on X team versus whatever, and that he was going to basically be able to take all the winnings back from his bet.
probably, I don't know.
But he wanted to do it the quote unquote right way.
They were very vague on that scenario.
Yeah.
And turns out the Bears end up losing, which is actually a very shocking ending to this. I feel
Yeah.
like I thought they were going to win, but they don't. And they start crying, and it's all happy tears. Like, "Oh man, we did our best," this and that. And I love the ending for this, where like Shiro basically says he can't confirm or deny like if there was gambling in like the baseball circuit.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of basically figured it out. I don't know why he was like, "Oh, yeah, there's gambling." You know, he basically kind of,
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he crippled him so much that it was irrelevant.
yeah, he like lies to him basically and is like, "Oh, like, I can't tell if there's gambling." He lies to the mayor. But I love the ending scene where Michiru is out and I think she's playing basketball or throwing a ball. She's throwing a ball around. She's like playing catch with herself. And the team shows up and they're like, "Hey, Michiru, we got new equipment. We got a loan with a 500% interest."
Right.
And she's like, Are you guys freaking crazy? Like, what's going on here? Don't take out loans you know nothing about.
Right.
Which leads us into our second episode that we're covering.
I got this really cool purifier pot. What'd you do? I took out a lifetime loan. Are you Johnny?
It's Jackie.
Yeah. Are you Jackie?
You want to cover the next episode?
Yeah.
All right.
So in this one, well, I feel like there's a little more on the last one too.
I mean, it's whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Well, in this one, I feel like. Give me 1 second. Because I wanted to tell you one thing. I thought it was really funny that this was an episode in this.
Uh-huh.
Because, we just covered Ultraman, and baseball was the big thing in Ultraman.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And I was like, man, this is kind of weird. I mean, we're going to move through this one, like start another anime, and it'll be like, yeah, baseball will be in that too. What is going on?
Well, I mean, baseball is really, really big in Japan.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a really big a thing. Like, so, like, I understand why baseball is in like a lot of different anime and stuff.
Yeah. We gotta see the soccer or the football.
I mean, I would rather watch them play baseball, to be honest. I don't know if they have football in Japan.
They do have football in Japan. It's called soccer.
No, like American football.
No. A lot of places don't have American football.
Well, I'm just saying.
They have rugby.
Hey, I've seen Ice Shield 21. They have it in Japan.
You know how fake Ice Shield 21 is?
Oh, it's real. I mean, what are you talking about?
You know how fake that is.
It's totally real.
We have a football team all the time.
You know, they have when they play against the alien football team.
Jesus Christ. They play against an alien football team?
I think at one point they do. They play against
you're full of shit. I've read that series. That never happened.
I think that they play against some weird teams.
They might have played against, like, a football team where their mascot was the aliens, but I don't think... I think you're thinking of the one that they played against that was the UFOs.
Look, I don't remember, okay? It's been a long time.
So what I hear you saying is, I guess we're covering Ice Shield 21 for the podcast.
I don't even know if that's streaming anywhere for us to even watch that.
Guess we're reading the manga.
Isn't that like way out of print?
I own it. I don't know about you, buddy. Maybe you'll have to look on the app.
I want to say it's like extreme. I don't read manga on a fucking app. That's stupid.
Well,
just saying.
I'm glad that you thought about these grand prizes because you won an iPad.
Anyways, getting back to the episode.
Episode 6,
yes.
Okay. I had a brain fart like you. I almost went 5, and I was like, no, we covered that.
What happens in episode 6, my friend?
So, in episode 6, it's a chilling story about things that happen. No, Michiru ends up getting kind of distracted, and she finds herself in the slums, which...
Yeah.
She's looking for something, right? I forgot what she was looking for. What
happens is basically she ends up meeting up with Mira, and she gets a phone.
That's right.
She gets her phone bill, which is like 500 yen or something like that. It's like a big expense, if I remember correctly.
Which she can't believe that she also has to pay that too, on top of buying the SIM card.
Yes.
So I'm like, how much is she using this phone?
I mean, I'm guessing a lot, right?
Has to be if it's that high.
And it was pretty high.
But she ends up doing that, and then she
sells them water purification systems.
Yeah. And then she leaves, right? Because then that's when we see Jackie come in, and it's like, oh yeah, hey, I bought one of these with lifetime
Loan.
insurance thing or whatever. Yeah,
There's a loan.
and then we see part of the people that are always around Mira,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and they come in time to a stake to take back with them.
Yeah, they're going to set him on fire, burn him at the stake.
I think that was a joke. I think they were just tied
No,
it.
they actually set it on fire.
I
So
don't.
you can't say like it was
Did
a
I not
joke
see
when they
that?
actually set him on fire.
Did I not see that part?
Yeah, they burned him at this, tried to burn him at the stake.
I remember them carrying him off. I don't remember them setting fire
Yeah,
to him.
because he makes
The
a big
hell?
the hippopotamus guy makes a big old deal about burning people if they wronged him.
That must have had like I must have blinked.
Yeah,
Because then like the next part I remember was the group gathering for the religious thing, and they're like, "Oh man, we are the Church of the Silver Wolf, and we're here to like convert people or whatever."
yeah.
And they have the little person that comes up, and they're all shiny, like in humanoid form.
They
Which this one that kind of like made me think of something right there, because it kind of looked like our main character whenever she did the bunny ears.
I guess.
It looked like that, and then she turned into the big form of the silver wolf. So do you think that form was the one that we saw originally?
No, it was not.
Okay.
No, it was not, because the one we saw originally had like a blue accent to it.
Okay.
And she is very much white and pink.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that is not the same like wolf.
Yeah. I figured I'd ask you that.
But did you see like her right hand man in the cults? Because they show up and they save Jackie, and they're like, oh, we're here because of the Silver Wolf and whatnot. And like they start to get people to like come to their cause.
Yeah.
The guy who was with her looks a lot like Zex Marquis from Gundam Wing. He's the guy who wears the face mask in Gundam Wing.
Oh, okay.
He drives the tall geese.
Yeah.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Zex Marquis.
That's pretty funny. I wonder if that was a concept idea when they made
I don't
that
know if
character.
it was like a reference or like an in joke or something. But I was like, that's fucking Zex Marquis.
You guys stole that from
You stole.
How dare you?
Must be some Gundam Wing fans around here going on,
I can see you getting to go to the Trigger Studio now. You're like, I love what your desks look like. Yeah. Well, so she transforms into the big like silver wolf,
Yeah.
form, and then she turns back into her,
Her human form.
Yeah, which obviously looks like what she looked like before, except white hair with pink tips instead of like the orangish hair that she had, or the pink hair she had with the orangish tips.
Yeah.
So I mean, her hair changed colors or whatever, and
we find out this is Nazuna, Michiru's friend who went missing.
Yeah, and Michiru, right?
Yeah.
Michiru keeps trying to call to her and get her to like,
which was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that she was doing that, and then you slowly see like all the hooded people like come to the crowd and get her, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's happening here?"
And they're like,
"I was
hey,
not accepting this."
Nazuna, and she's like waving to her. Nobody is paying attention to what's going on in the crowd at all, and they like like you said, they slowly come and get her, and they're like, "Nope, we're taking you away."
Which I wonder if they knew that that's what her name was before.
I want to say probably, maybe. I don't know. Maybe people in her inner circle do.
Yeah, because I mean, that was one thing, and then how she plays up stuff later on kind of like was a little confusing to me.
Well, this ends up continuing into the next episode.
Oh, it
So
does?
yeah,
Okay.
so the Silver Wolf thing, the cult of the Silver Wolf, or the Church of the Silver Wolf, because they're not a cult. Well, I use the word cult loosely. They end up showing up in the next episode as well. So it kind of goes a couple episodes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but she kind of like, which I kind of hate the concept of all this. Just because like watching it, I felt that something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it was just too good to be true. And so she comes to her as this lady, of they're putting her as like the figurehead to trick people, even though
Yeah.
she feels like she kind of like inferred that she was against that and didn't want to do it. Nazune,
Nazuna.
yeah.
I mean, I
But
don't know. I didn't really get that at first because I remember she said she wanted to be like a pop idol in a flashback, and
yeah,
stuff. Which
I felt that way just because, like, I know what you're talking about, the pop idol part.
yeah.
And she also includes in that she doesn't want people to choose her as like a thing or whatever. That's why like she wasn't going to be able to be a model, because she's like, I don't want people to choose me. I want to be the one that chooses the people to do that for me, which didn't make a lot of sense. But
No, no, no. And we
um,
also get this interesting like exchange between Michiru and Nazuna, where they're all by themselves and they're talking, and we come to find out that Nazuna isn't actually a wolf.
yeah, she's a
She's a
fox.
fox. She's a
Yeah.
fox. And I was like, what the hell's going on here?
See, and I also think because they played it up with uh crap. What's our main character's name again?
Michiru.
Michiru, where they go, oh well, she's a raccoon, but she's a tanuki.
Which, is that a joke? Is that some kind of
So
joke?
I don't think so, because I think both of them think that way.
Because I mean, I think like a tanuki is like, isn't it like an offshoot of the raccoon family? Like it's like not even like a real animal, right?
Well, tanuki is a real animal. It's
Is it?
just they're not very common. Yeah, they're
Okay.
they're closer to red pandas.
Okay, so they're like probably in like the
Um,
raccoon family.
but I also feel like it was kind of something that we don't exactly know if we're not thinking outside the box with everything that's been said to Mizuna,
Yeah.
which is that she's a tanuki. That's why she's got kind of all these extra terrestrial powers, kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on top of like that being an experiment and everything, but I really think even though between both of them,
Yeah.
uh, the one girl goes, "Oh well, I'm a fox." I'm really leaning towards she's more of like a kitsune, which is a nine-tailed fox.
I could probably see that.
But they're not leaning into that yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Which, and she starts talking about like the religion and stuff like that, and how like she was like, I think, found and brought in, and this whole thing was like made around her, and all they want is like a place to live is what they want.
Yeah.
And
Well, and see that whole thing I felt like was off-putting. Going back to what I told you, she said to begin with, she wants to be the one to push it, to
yeah.
pick the people. And so, like, from that point forward, like, I was on her case. Like, I was like, okay, like, she might not be, she might be working with the other guy, but she's in league with him somehow. She's not just this person that's being used.
Yeah. And they end up going to Michiru's house because she tells Nazuna that she lives there.
Right.
And she's like, oh, you can come live with me. You don't have to play this game where you like lie to people and stuff like that. We can just live our lives. And she asks Shiro if Nazuna can live with them. And he adamantly says no. She cannot live with us. So Shiro knows that something is going on.
Right.
because he's asked to like investigate kind of the Church of the Wolf, the Silver Wolf, and
Yeah,
stuff.
because they're in town
And they're
and the
in
mayor
town.
and everybody knows. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he could smell it on her too,
yeah,
honestly.
like the
Like whatever was
human.
going on.
Yeah, and
I mean,
they,
well, and she says the same thing. I mean, she's one of these hybrids. She's not exactly human. So it
yeah,
also throws me off that that's something she strongly believes and pushes onto it too. Like, the weird thing is, you know how we have these extremist humans that hate beastmen and
yeah,
everything, and they want to eradicate them, all that.
hmm
And of course, at some point, some of the other beastmen are like, "Yeah, we're getting paid" or some shit like that. But she is adamant on, I am exactly human. I'm not this hybrid. You know, all my powers come from something else, blah, 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 blah. And she strongly leans into what I feel like is the complete opposite side of that.
Well, which is weird how Shiro like shuns her, but he accepts Michiru for who she
I
is.
think it's because he knows.
You think so?
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, if you take what she said before and you really like look at everything with a fine tooth comb, after everybody came and grabbed Michiru,
Yeah,
then whenever she told them that they could leave, she could handle it. That to me isn't a sign of this is a person. If you are under somebody's care, they're not going to leave you alone
yeah.
because they would be upset about her escaping. So, you know, she commanded that. She told them to leave and that she would basically handle the thing. To us, watching it, maybe it wasn't so blatant. I mean, it was
hmm
maybe not to you. I mean, I felt like it was blatant the whole time. Um, but then whenever like she had the leash of being able to go out with Michiru, being
Yeah,
able to go to the thing, like that's not somebody unless you're like either a co preacher person or whatever, or you're the head that you get that freedom to do, you know. So a lot of stuff just seemed like inconsistencies, and I feel like Shiro knew that, which is another, I kind of think, nail in the coffin of that.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I could see that because I mean, like, she definitely like flip flops with Michiru, talking to Michiru and like talking to like the mayor, and how like because at
yeah,
one point like after they leave, you know, she Michiru ends up going to join the Church of the Silver Wolf.
yeah. Well, so in this part, let me lead this part for you too. So in this part where she's like, I want to join, and people came and talked to her, I was like, okay, well, why didn't they go talk to the other guy?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Why didn't they go talk to him too? Like you'd think if they were co. So in this instant, whenever she did that, I was like, oh yeah, this is fake. Like,
I think the Silver Wolf is just like a figurehead, basically.
yeah. Well, I mean, the guy that you said looked like,
Yeah,
I almost called him Char.
Zex. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
they're
guy
they're
that,
based off the same person.
yeah,
They're
the
all
guy
based off
that
Char.
the guy that looked like Zex, though, you know, we find out more. He's not actually like a figurehead person at all, especially in this instant, you know, because the other thing is where is I almost called her Nazune.
That's Nazuna.
Nazuna, you know, where is she staying at?
She's staying in like a tent.
Right. You know, a really nice tent, all this other stuff. To me, like if you're gonna do that and it's out of the sight of the people, you're gonna be in a cage.
Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
like
you know,
they gotta keep her happy because she's the puppet, and he's the puppet master, obviously, right?
I mean, but you wouldn't do that. You would rule with fear. You wouldn't rule with, you know, complacency.
I don't know.
You
That
know
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying? Like, so I mean, like all these kind of little breadcrumbs that I feel like lead up to if you knew, because whenever they did this whole part where she's like, "Oh, I know where the mayor is. Yeah, let's go. We can go there or whatever." I was like, "This is not going to work out the way that it should." Like
No.
somehow, some fucking way, something's going to happen, and she. After like seeing that whole part, I was like, either she's going to tell them that have her people like show up at the restaurant too, like after them at some point, and it is going to turn into they're out to kill the mayor or something else.
I
And of
mean,
course, something else happens. But
do you want me to spoil it for you?
what?
Somebody does try to kill the mayor at one point
In the episode 7.
Yeah, in the next episode.
Right.
Yeah.
You cheeky bastard! We're not that far yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody tries to kill the mayor.
But yeah, I mean, like we had all this stuff. She said, "Oh yeah," and then like
she flips a switch almost.
She almost like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
And because at one point it's like she does the whole thing, and it's weird. She talks real stern, like it's like, yeah, I'm whatever that name we tried to pronounce earlier was.
I don't remember what her name is.
DC Louvet or whatever.
DC Louvet.
Yeah, now we're French or maybe Louisiana. I mean, that's what it reminds me of.
I'm ready. I was born ready. A shot out of my daddy's nutsack.
Jesus.
But my mom.
She goes, she gets real stern. She goes, I'm DC Louvet, the leader of the Silver Wolves, and blah, 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 blah. And like, she's real stern. And it's not exactly things that we saw if she wasn't talking to one of the people that were under her, like all of her minions or whatever. Because with Michiru, she's always has this other thing on. And we get to see it a little bit after this. After that, and the mayor accepts that they can stay there.
Yeah, but they have to be like supervised and stuff, if I remember correctly.
They do, and they have to have a building that the mayor is basically picking out.
Yeah.
Whenever she does that, and they're walking back, beside the benches, and she's got this whole flip switch thing back the other way. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, Michiru, this is so great, he 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 he," and I'm like,
and then she switches it again.
She's fucking psychotic.
Which I was thinking, like, maybe is she like gaslighting Michiru?
I think she is, because I think Michiru stood up to the plate and wasn't going to let her get away with it, and calling her out a little bit, and she basically like was like, Michiru, fuck off, like like if you're not with me, you're against me. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, if you're not going to do any of this or whatever, like, thanks. I used you to talk to the mayor and whatnot. But, yeah. I mean, this is all going to be different from here, guys.
Yeah. And that's kind of where our episode ends. And we go into, like, this interesting, like extra part of the anime where it goes into the ending. And we see, like, them... and they got into an accident and they like recover from this bad accident and stuff like that. And like, it was really interesting to see like their friendship in this sense, like just crumble after all they've been through and stuff like that, and for Nazuna to like choose this fake life.
And I kind of wonder if now, like how all these doctors and stuff know, like, did Nazuna,
Nazuna,
did she know about this supposed BNA disease thingy or whatever that was gonna happen, and somehow got it mixed up with Michiru too, where she has that as well.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously do have the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but, did she originally get it for her and then try and use it in that way? Because we have been seeing all these flashbacks about all of it where, there's like doctor people that came to pick her up. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's what happened. And somewhere in there, because her and what's her face, our main character, were like such good friends that somehow it got mixed up where it was a drink or it was something that they shared, and they both got part of it. And now it's turned around to, she knew it was going to happen to her, so they ended up taking her to do all this other stuff and not knowing it was going to affect another human being.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what it is in that sense, and that there's just... it tells us a lot. So, as you said, I can't wait till we get into the next episode. Well, I can't wait till I get in the next episode. since somebody likes to start watching them ahead
Look,
of
I had a little bit of free time and I watched the next episode, okay?
time, and then you'll be like, I've watched it 3 more times since then.
Well,
I'll
I
be
mean,
like,
I have to
"You son
watch.
of a
I
bitch."
watched the episode and then I rewatched the episode and like I take notes a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've watched the episode twice so far.
Well, so on this one, backing up a little bit, I like where they got in their fight,
Yeah,
and Mizuna basically almost did like I would say what a BNA mic drop is, where she's sitting to it, and then like you see like the bird or something fly by, and Nazuna looks away, and she looks back and she's gone, and I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
It was
tell
really
her to screw off.
it was really interesting to see like how their friendship just crumbled down.
Yeah,
And obviously, like she's being fed, spoon fed all these lies and stuff. And like we don't know who's controlling who in this situation. Like
yeah,
because I mean they said like those silver wolf is like sacred to the beastmen.
yeah.
Now I'm just gonna throw this out there. My theory is that Shiro is actually the silver wolf.
I mean, that's been our theory all
Yeah,
along.
yeah,
But
that's my theory. Is like Shiro's the silver wolf, and like for him, like not to like come out and not to get the praise is really interesting.
Yeah. See, I feel like what we're gonna find out is that somehow they got a blood experiment or something from him, because they said that it comes around every once in a while when the silver wolf is needed. It comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like they're gonna say that's how both of these girls basically were transformed.
That's really interesting to think
You
about.
know, like the blood that he has is what gives you a superpower, and it almost makes it something like he's invincible.
Yeah,
One of them can transform. Well, I mean, technically they both can, but
yeah, they both can transform.
but their transformations are both kind of different. One of them
Yeah.
like almost seems like they transform all the way. The other one's bits and pieces. So
Yeah,
I don't exactly know in what part any of that other stuff, but I do think that may play into it at some point, that maybe they all share some of the same DNA from
yeah.
part of this or something like that.
The plot definitely thickens.
It does. It does.
It does.
So
I liked a lot of aspects about both episodes. They were a lot of fun.
yeah.
The second one had a lot more serious nature to it.
Well,
I
I feel like that's why the episode before had to be more comical.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's really
Because
good.
they knew they were about to hit us with some serious shit.
Yeah, no, I felt like that was really good. It's very nice juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And like, we had this fun, like funny like episode, and then we go into the serious episode. Like it's very much like a palate cleanser almost.
Yeah.
In a sense. And I really liked them. I'm really interested to see where things go, even though I have watched the next episode. I still don't know where things are going to go after the next episode.
South.
And south, they're going to go south, yes.
Yeah.
And the Church of the Silver Wolf is still going to be still around. And I can't wait for them to be like, oh, no, we got a fake on our hands. Like, are we going to have like a church of the actual Silver Wolf?
I don't think we're gonna have that, but I feel like we are gonna get that whole kind of standoff where it's like, you're not the real Silver Wolf, I'm the real Silver. Yeah, like
I'm Spartacus.
You're gonna have this fake religion basically like start, and then have it basically get decimated by the truth.
Yeah.
So,
no, it was a lot.
Which we have 12 episodes left, right?
We have 12 episodes
not 12,
total.
It's 12 total, so we have 6 left, right?
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if the rest of the stuff with the church is going to be the bulk of our episodes left.
That could possibly be really interesting to see.
Or will we get some other stuff broken up with it at all,
Maybe the church will be a big part of it, but I could see like remember that guy who was interested in Michiru and Shiro,
The blonde one.
the blonde one. I can see him being like the big bad almost.
See, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna say yes, he knows all this, but at the same time, this Church of the Silver Wolf is going to be a secondary player, and
I
we're
mean, I
not
can see
gonna.
that. I can see that.
We're
You
not
know,
exactly gonna know, so we're gonna have like 3 or 4 factions of people.
I could see
We're
them
gonna have
being
we're gonna have
being
this guy with the doctors. Um, we're gonna have the church. We're gonna have um, Anima Islands people like that are under the mayor, and
yeah.
we're gonna have an independent faction, most likely something that involves Shiro and maybe somebody else.
I could see the church being like the villain for the next couple episodes,
Yeah,
and then moving into the mysterious guy who like possibly works for the
which wasn't he in a
doctor.
part? Wasn't he in a part of it for in the baseball episode? Because didn't
Yeah, he was because he saw Michiru transform.
yeah okay.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the episode.
Because it's like, didn't he bring up the gorilla hand thing or like the
Yeah,
cheetah leg thing too?
yeah, he does. He does bring it up, and he's like, "Oh, I want to like see her or whatever, like see more of her." Basically,
Yeah, yeah.
at one point, yeah. So I can
What
see him
a creeper.
being the big bad of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
But yeah, what do you think of these episodes?
I liked them. I feel like they're more still holding pretty strong on like trigger stuff.
I feel like they're very solid.
And yeah, and I mean I think it's still good. It's weird too, like especially like now that we're covering these every week, like we know that it's good and it's not like we're falling back on a show that could be subpar or something else
Yeah.
like the one that you wanted to watch.
From what I've heard, like people are always surprised that like this never got like more seasons.
Yeah.
It only has the one.
I mean, I could see that just because there's a lot of things that Trigger does that's like that. Unless
Well, I mean,
they,
like it was.
if it's an original story, I feel like they do that a lot.
From what I've heard, like it was good and it was somewhat popular, but it flew under a lot of radars.
I mean, but Prom Air was that way too.
True. I mean, no, Prom Air was pretty fucking big.
I don't think Prom Air was pretty big.
Prom Air was pretty big.
I didn't even hear about Prom Air till we became friends with Chai B, and she told me what Prom Air was.
Well, also, you don't necessarily have your
And
ear
then
down to the like what's hot anime type of thing.
and then I only knew about the person, and I thought it was one of her original characters. And then you go, "Hey, do you want to watch Premiere?" And I'm like, "What? What is that?" And you're like, "Oh, it's this anime." And you bring it up, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, I mean, you're not like hip with what's new. Like you don't look at like what's coming
Are
out.
we hip anymore?
I mean, no, we're not. But I feel like
I
I'm more
mean,
hip
I
with
mean,
it than you are.
I mean, I'll die on the cross that I can give you at least 5 right now, which is going to be Black Clover. Even though I don't know how the fuck people let it die before it got recognition while I was fucking reading it. Jujutsu Kaisen.
I'm talking about anime.
What?
You were talking about
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Uh-huh.
I know, but you know, like it took forever for even the manga to get recognition where they were like, let's do an anime.
Okay.
For Black Clover.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you have Jujutsu Kaisen. You still have Demon Slayer, even though it's completed. You have what's that? What's the one with the chainsaw guy? Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
That one's still like relevant.
Do you
right
realize
now.
you just named like the most generic shonen things that are on the market right now?
And Vinland Saga. Let's not get into Berserk. I mean,
Okay, we're not gonna get into Berserk.
I know how many people that's still focusing on too. I've gotten asked 12 times for people to borrow my manga. I'm like, oh my god,
Like that. Can't do it.
And JoJo's. So
And JoJo's, yes.
Yeah, we bumped up to like 8.
Anyways, I thought these episodes were really good. And they definitely keep like the intrigue alive, I feel like, especially in this last episode. What would you give these episodes?
I'm gonna hold firm on my 4.5.
I would give it a 4.5 as well. Like I really liked these episodes.
I feel like we haven't rated this below together. I feel like we haven't rated any of this below a 4 or either an 8.5 or a 9
Yeah,
together. So, I mean, this is like we've been saying, this is a pretty solid anime.
it is.
So who knows?
People should go check it out.
They should, so you can check out our show.
Yeah. But if you want to get in touch with us, you can do so on our Instagram at Otakuology Podcast or on Blue Sky. And you can leave us a suggestion, or if you want to rate and review the podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can leave comments on our new Spotify now, which is really cool. You know?
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next episode with more BNA.
See you next Tuesday.
See ya.